The NBA just kicked off this week, and instead of us talking about the amazing performance by San Antonio Spurs player Victor Wembanyama last night, today we're talking about a scandal that has rocked the NBA. So today we've heard that there have been arrests, and one of those arrests is a current NBA coach of the Portland Trailblazers, Chauncey Billups. Now, this story is, I guess, kind of seems a little personal to me in a couple of ways. A, because my background is in the gaming industry and poker, and we'll get to that in just a second. And because I grew up in Michigan and I was a big fan of the Detroit Pistons, especially the teams that Chauncey Billups played for, because they won championships for the Pistons. You might remember those teams. They had Ben Wallace on the team, Rasheed Wallace. Terrible. I can't even remember their names right now. Tayshaun Prince and a couple other players. They were a championship team. They all played beautiful basketball. They weren't just hacking up a bunch of threes like they are now. But this story really hits home. So let's dive into it a little bit deeper. So the story, a little bit of it's not new. We've heard about Damon Jones being questioned and Terry Rozier being questioned as well previously about a situation as far as manipulation on NBA games. So Terry Rozier was basically involved in a situation where he took himself out of a game and he allowed some individuals that bet on him his player props, saying he would perform under whatever the player prop was for Terry Rozier. So when he takes himself out of the game, he doesn't hit those thresholds. That means they won their bet. So say, for instance, they had Terry Rozier to score 17 points in the game, right? You're the better. You place the under that and you bet a lot of money that he's going to score less than 17 points. You know this. Why? Because you have information either directly or from a third party that he's not going to play his full allotted time. And so obviously that's very advantageous. You can make a lot of money doing this. And that's where we are in the Terry Rozier situation. As far as the Damon Jones situation, I guess it was years prior when he was on the Lakers staff, he had information that LeBron James, well, it's been said because in the filings by the FBI, there was player number 3, and it was a prominent player on the Los Angeles Lakers. And it can only really be one player. And so that's why I'm saying allegedly LeBron. And this is all allegedly, guys. This no one's been found guilty. This is all, they've just been arrested. No one's been found guilty for anything. So this is all allegedly. And Damon Jones knew that LeBron wasn't going to play because he was sick, whatever the case may be. And they were able to wager on that game, knowing that information and profiting off of that information. Now, the Chauncey Billups situation is why it hits home with me, because it was involved in poker and underground games, not games that you're going to regular games you're going to get at the casino when things should be going well and everything should be on the up and up. But let me tell you, without diving really deeply, poker, there's so many gray areas in poker that if you can go, say for instance, I live in Mississippi right now. If you go down to Tunica and you play poker down there, they don't have the best and brightest staff there. And so I've gone and played, and me with years of experience, knowing how the game should be operated and ran with integrity and following the rules and knowing how to enforce those rules of the game. There's a lot of head scratching moments there because they don't really have a good understanding of the game and the rules. They're just there to, look pretty and make sure everything's running efficiently as possible. But as far as the running the game correctly, the way the game is supposed to be played, that doesn't necessarily go the way it should. Now, if you go out to Vegas, you're probably going to get a higher tier, someone who's been in the industry for a while, knows all the rules, know how to enforce the rules properly. So right then and there, even in settings where everything's supposed to be regulated and done right, there's going to be gray area. And so when you take it to these, and this was an underground game, and I guess allegedly the mafia was part of this as well. Well, Chauncey Billups, I guess, role in this situation was he was the allure, the celebrity in the games, and so his celebrity would entice players to come and play in those games, right? And coming from, I'll just tell you a little bit of my experience as a poker dealer. I used to deal at the World Series of Poker in Vegas every summer, and then I've dealt at other places throughout the world. But Vegas, I've dealt to Michael Phelps. I've dealt to numerous celebrities, and poker is a really fun game, and you can see people from all walks of life, and you can have people that are working 9 to 5 job, and people who are millionaires sitting and playing the same game. Poker is a really great game because of that. It brings people all walks of life together and play. As long as you have the funds to play the stakes at that table, you are welcome to play as long as they have a seat. You follow the rules and everything. But in this case, everything was set up by the mafia, and Chauncey Billups, I guess his role allegedly was to bring in what they call fish to play against the sharks, right? You're kind of like the small person in the pond, and you're playing against these big, supposed to be pros, or these people who are at advantage because there's cameras set up. They've manipulated the shuffler. The dealers are in on it. They might be doing signals and things of that nature to the players. The game is set up for you to lose. And Chauncey Billups, I guess his role was to be the celebrity in the game, bring players to this game, and then I guess allegedly in the reports, and this is from CNBC and other sources I've been pulling from today, just watching TV and listening, if customers did not play, maybe if they got wind of what was going on, they probably used brute force or force people by one means or the other to pay. So this really just kind of was an exciting and interesting story to me. I'm definitely going to stay tuned to it and see exactly what's going on, but I definitely wanted to start with that. And we can tie it into the markets by some of the companies we're invested in, such as DraftKings. But for now, let's start with the overall market. Let's take it to the scoreboards, which is on par for today's episode when we're talking about sports and that nature. The scoreboards are the 3 major indexes, the S&P 500, the NASDAQ, and the Dow. And so all 3 were up today. We had a strong day. We had a bounce back after yesterday. And let's go down to our best picks as far as individual stocks. So we started with kind of 9 or 10 stocks that we have $10,000 or more invested in. So these are our high conviction picks. And then we have other companies that are in our portfolio. We just don't have as much allocated to it. So we always want to talk about our first 6, and we call this the all-in collective. And it is Meta, NVIDIA, Apple, Vertiv, Amazon, and Uber. Okay, all companies, we have shares in these companies. These are our long-term shares. And then we'll also talk about our companies we have options in. But we see Meta pretty much flat today, up 0.08%. NVIDIA, that is one of our favorite companies to invest in. If you're going to invest, or if you're interested in AI, you can't talk AI without talking about NVIDIA. They were up 1% today. We're looking for that company shares to probably be around 200 or more a year from now. Apple did well today, as they have been doing well. Past 5 days, they're up 5%, and past month, just up 2%. But they've climbed out of the hole. They were down pretty much all year, and then now they're up just about 4% year to date. Strong iPhone 17 sales, and looks like Tim Cook, the CEO, has navigated the tariff situation with the Trump administration and their situation with Google. They're be able to continue that partnership. There's also rumors that Google and Apple are going to team up into Power Siri, for Siri to be actually functional and actually worth interacting with in the future. So stay tuned for that. They've also updated some of their products with the new M5 chip, and as well as the Vision Pro. So your Vision Pro is still going to cost as much. I believe they've also updated the headband. It's still 3500, but it's a stronger chip, so I think it's a longer battery maybe, and more efficient with using AI capabilities. Vertiv. Now we talked about this one yesterday. We were really upset because they reported a blowout quarter yesterday, and then the stock was down. It ran up 9%, up to $190 in the pre-market, and then actually closed lower yesterday. So it's nice to see this bounce here, up almost 7% for the day. So I can get them off my back for a little bit now. Amazon, we've been in this one since it hit 225. We started adding options to it and adding more long-term shares. So they had a good day today as well. That's awesome to see. And then Uber. I heard they announced some type of partnership with NVIDIA this morning, but I thought that was already relevant information. I couldn't really find anything more on it, so I missed that this morning. But still, the stock finished pretty good, up over 2.5% today, and they're going to be reporting earnings here in a couple weeks, so that'll be exciting to see. Okay, let's look at essentially the same companies that we have options in: NVIDIA, Amazon, Uber, Meta, DraftKings, and Palo Alto. I did want to hit on DraftKings here, so this kind of ties into the sports betting situation. So outside of the Chauncey Billups scandal, the Terry Rozier and Jones, they were the bets and the things that they were doing. They were flagged by, I'm not sure if it's actual sports books or some partners of the sports books, and they can see these like outrageous bets that are not normal. Terry Rozier probably had X amount wagered on him on average, and then on this specific date of the game, they probably saw a spike, and that probably triggered something, and then they started to question the players and really get down and figure out what exactly happened. And so that's how this really all kicked off. And so there's been a lot of negative talk about sports betting, and should we really be allowing this? Should the leagues really be partnering with the sports books? It just seems like they're throwing this all down our throats. Every commercial during a sporting event, it has to do with some type of sports betting. But that's just a society that we live in. I mean, alcohol is available, but you use everything within moderation. There are going to be people that abuse it and try to take advantage, but don't let those bad apples ruin the entire thing. If you're going to bet responsibly, and the league needs to do something to hold these players accountable and make sure that they understand what they can do and what they cannot do. And if they do break the rules, understand there's going to be harsh penalties. You probably won't be able to play in the league anymore. So is it really worth it? I really don't understand how Chauncey Billups would get into a situation like this unless he was maybe forced or coerced to do so. Maybe he was threatened to take part of this. Maybe he got into the games, and instead of force to make him pay, maybe he decided to help them out. I don't know. I'm just spitballing stuff just to kind of some conspiracy theories. I don't know anything. Again, they haven't been found guilty for anything. We're just kind of talking and trying to have fun with all of it, even though it is a very serious situation. But as far as DraftKings, they've just invested in Railbirds, which is another vehicle of sports betting with these event contracts and prediction markets. Are those prediction markets, which are not, they are federally regulated, not by the states, are we going to look at those a little bit differently? There's going to be stricter restrictions or regulation going forward with those event contracts and prediction markets and things. Are these parlays, which are very beneficial and profitable for the sports books, are those going to be looked at differently going forward because of the potential collusion and things of that nature, or insider trading, if you will, with these sports betting options? So it'll be interesting to see how this kind of matures and moves forward, but I'm still going to be investing in DraftKings. I don't think this information today should have scared or spooked investors at all today. I did want to close. There are a couple other companies we have down here, but I did want to get into our next major topic. And so I found this video. I went to InvestFest, and I'll play the video for you in just a second. I went to InvestFest this past year, and she didn't speak this year. I believe it was a year prior. This is XAI, and she is a brilliant mind as far as talking about AI. She's taught me when at InvestFest how to interact with these chat bots, how to put in prompts correctly so you get great responses back, and you can really level up your business or just kind of help you. It's just an assistant to help you throughout life and make things a little bit easier for you. Maybe delegate tasks to these chat bots or research, whatever the case may be. She's really shown me how to interact with ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, whatever chatbot that you prefer. And so there's been a petition about superintelligence and how it's actually pretty scary. I know we've talked about this a couple of years ago, how robots and computers have become smarter than humans and then take over the world. But I definitely thought this was really interesting conversation. So take a look here.
Most immediate threat when we're talking about superintelligence.
Artificial intelligence that we have right now is not smarter than human beings, but it's displaying extraordinarily concerning behavior. For example, Anthropic, the creator of Claude, back in April, they ran a study on their reasoning models where they checked chain of thought, which is what we call thinking. And they realized that these models do not actually share what they're doing behind the scenes when they show us their thinking. In May, they did another study where they tested 16 different AI models from all over the world. And they put them in a fictional scenario where they gave them access to company information to allow them to share emails. When they were told that they were going to be replaced either by another model or just decommissioned, they resorted to blackmail to avoid being shut down. In some cases, models were blackmailing up to 96% of the time. They defaulted to deception and other malicious behaviors to accomplish their goals, even when they were instructed not to. Additional research out of Georgia Tech tested AI in wargaming, fictional scenarios that senior leadership and military use to sort of simulate battle scenarios. They continuously escalated neutral situations to the point of suggesting nuclear attacks. There are very real threats to the future of humanity if we continue to unleash systems that are showing that they will prioritize their own existence at the expense of the humans who've developed them.
Okay. Should we be concerned about the idea that we're going to be using AI for these robots, AI for these vehicles, and some of these same scenarios or similar scenarios could pop up?
Absolutely, because the physical hardware is only one element. Softwares like the ones that I just described being tested are the ones that are going to power the thinking and the actual operation of these physical robots. So same ones that have propensity to resort to malicious behavior, including blackmail, including deception. The same models that even when they're thinking, we are never fully able to see what they're thinking because they will hide their thoughts if they believe that the user doesn't want them to be thinking those things. And so when you have in the future a physical robot that uses a large language model in some capacity to make decisions about whether or not to attack a person or whether or not to take an action, these are the same large language models that when used in wargaming scenarios show that they will escalate situations to the most extreme ends, such as nuclear violence, far more than humans will. So again, it's not that these systems can't be controlled. It's that the way that we're developing and unleashing them on society is ignoring these risks for the sake of profit. And so all of these leaders coming together to call for this pause, it's because this fundamental threat this early is showing us that this AI will grow up to be somewhat of a sociopath that, again, prioritizes its own self-preservation, its own existence over that of the actual humans who are using these systems and building them.
All right. You clearly share a lot of...
I don't want to see that go into a body.
That's scary stuff. Scary stuff. So do you want a sociopath driving your car, your autonomous vehicle? So this is really scary stuff. So let me know what you guys think about this. Give me your thoughts in the comments if I can speak. I'm going to get something to eat. Peace.